Welcome to the Intel Scaling at the Edge video series. In this video, we will learn how meldCX is creating more connected retail stores, safer workplaces, and smart healthcare spaces by enabling machines to see the physical world with speed and precision. Joining us is Joy Chua, the Executive Vice President of Strategy and Development at meldCX. Joy, take it away.
Thank you, Intel, for the opportunity, and thank you everyone for your time again today. I'm really excited to be able to take you guys through meldCX, which is our company, as well as our AI platform, Viana, and what we can do as a business to help you make AI and automation a reality. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence, machine vision, and the Internet of Things are allowing organizations to make the most of anonymized data collected from cameras and sensors. The aim is really not just to passively monitor environments, but also actively gather insight, make smart decisions, and automated processes so that we can help businesses grow. And that's what we essentially do. meldCX stands for Melding the Customer Experience. And what we do as a company is specialize in using AI and intelligent edge technologies to provide better customer experiences. And we've been on the journey for a while now, and we've realized that, in this journey, a lot of customers often see gaps and challenges in this agent AI adoption process. Some of the questions that we usually hear are things like, how do I scale? How do I grow with the resources I have, but still make sure I am in line with security and compliance? AI is not an unfamiliar word to a lot of us, but it's still pretty hard to palate and digest for a lot of organizations. We find people have a lot of plans, but turning those plans into reality sometimes still requires quite a big leap. And so that's what we've created. We created Viana, which is essentially an end-to-end platform that allows organizations to make your AI and automation a reality based on what you actually need, without being forced to invest too much in data engineering and ML resources. And so a little bit more talked about, security, privacy, and compliance. And on this slide, you'll see the top 6 reasons why we're trusted by some of the world's biggest brands. And I'll do a little bit of a deep dive as well into our edge-based anonymized approach. So some of the key reasons that, help us really stay within those ethical, safety, and compliance boundaries are: one, we make sure that all faces are blurred in the streams and processed at the edge. That means that when you look on the Viana platform, you don't actually see someone's face. So all faces are blurred, like you can see on the left of my screen with that particular lady wearing the blue blazer. We actually make sure that faces are pixelated, which means that no personal information actually passes through our Viana platform. Second, we make sure that every person is turned into an anonymous token. So instead of being known as Joy, for example, which is myself, I will be known on the system, like you can see on the left, as token with the numbers ending 002. So that's who I am. And so there's no personable, identifiable information that's stored. The second as well is on the Viana platform, we make sure that we don't store or stream identifiable sensor data. So what I mean by that is, in the case of a loss prevention scenario, for example, we're able to monitor that anomaly, process that anomaly, and have that anomaly sent to the right person. So say if we detect token ID 001 has been standing in front of the shaver shelf, for example, in the pharmaceutical section, he's picked a couple of things off the razor blade sides, he's looking over his shoulder multiple times. We flag that as an anomaly. We send that off to, say, security staff and personnel. When the security staff and personnel receive that notice, all it provides to them is really a link with, the timestamp of the video clip where the anomaly has been detected. We don't actually point them to our platform. We actually notify them of where to look at that particular snippet or segment of video on the CCTV system. And so that means that, we don't actually show that particular video clip on the Viana platform. And that's how we ensure that privacy is protected that way. The third thing as well that we do that I wanted to spend a bit of time focusing on is we've also realized that a target persona is really more than just your face. And so in terms of, we don't really do things like facial recognition, but what we do is we add more depth to that persona by combining things like object as well as non-face behavior. So what I mean by that is, on top of some of the usual stats that we can gather of a person, say using myself as an example, female, age within this range, I also pick up object recognition such that, Joy has short black hair, she's also wearing glasses per se. So what that means is I'm able to add that much breadth to that target persona without identifying that person, but get enough data extracted to be able to provide information that might be useful for this persona. So say if I was walking down a supermarket shelf, for example, and say spectacle wipes were on sale, what that would be is, as I was walking through, digital signage could then flash up with things that were suitable for me and people who were wearing glasses that were on sale up on the screen, just to be able to send more useful information to me that way. The other thing that we also do is non-face behavior. So I use loss prevention as an example of non-face behavior that we could track and monitor as anomalies, but I also wanted to talk about using non-face behavior for metrics purposes. And for metrics purposes, what I meant was, instead of tracking anomalies, we could also track things like how is a particular target persona interacting with, say, a MacBook on a bench. Are they looking at a 15-inch versus are they looking at, a 10-inch tablet? How are their hands actually behaving? How are they interacting with things on the bench? And providing those kind of metrics, data back to the business to be able to understand, this target persona, say for example, my age group, do they prefer tablets over laptops, and whether we should stock more of these products or not. So these are some of the ways that, we make sure that we keep anonymous, we stay within the confines of privacy as well as security and compliance. So I spoke a lot about how we look and capture anonymous data. Other things that we do and how our customers engage with us is really, in 3 ways. And we've cultivated AI in this kind of 3 modular ways because we know that the AI journey sometimes gets a bit intense, or it's such a big word to actually grapple and digest. And so we've got 3 key ways that we engage with our partners so that no matter where you are at on your data or your AI journey, we always have the right engagement module for you. And so if you see on screen, we have 3 engagement models. So the first is start, the second is grow, and the third is evolve. And essentially, start is our term for businesses who are just starting their AI journey. So in this particular scenario, we'll come to you with our ready-to-go or off-the-shelf modules, which means that you're literally able to go into our Viana platform, download the modules that you have, deploy them on your sensor, and really be ready to go. So that means that if you wanted to just do a quick check on, people in the space, looking at people counting modules, that's all available for you. You can quickly download it and work together with your team to deploy that and get analytics quickly to prove your business case. The second is our Grow Engagement module. And our Grow Engagement module is perfect for customers who have dabbled in that AI engagement space before. They know a little bit about AI. These customer groups usually already have some form of existing AI or ML modules, but are looking to add more. So they've dabbled in that and they realize that this particular module or algorithm that they have doesn't necessarily cover off all their business requirements, and they're looking for a supplement that can have ready-to-go modules as well as use what they already have. And so that's our growth engagement module. Our last engagement module is our evolve engagement module. And this is for businesses who are very clear on their business requirements and are all about proving a business case because they have a hypothesis statement or they have a very clear requirements need. And so in this use case, we usually work with customers to train new AI data sets. It's all about personalized use cases specific for that customer. And what we find is that even in this group, even though there might be really specific use cases and we work with them to train specific AI data sets, our range of modules are usually able to work across these sets as well. So that means 2 things. One, you can reuse some of our ready-to-go modules. Two, you can reuse some of our dashboards that we've already created for customers. And three, that also means that you don't have to invest so much kind of ML and data engineering resources to do that. So you'll be able to stand up a pretty quick personalized use case by yourself as well. So I've started to show a couple of examples of what I mean by ready to go and how, some of the modules that we have available and how that could tie in with our 3 growth engagement modules. So if you see on screen here, you'll see we're using a safer workspace, or really a corporate enterprise vertical as an example. I'm going to showcase different verticals, how we have ready-to-go modules that can split across all 3, and how we can then work to create personalized use cases for you guys as well. So the first is our corporate workspace vertical. You can see on screen, everything in that little white box is everything that's ready off the shelf and ready to go basically. So we have a couple of modules, as you can see, from something as standard as entry monitoring, where we're actually tracking foot traffic in and out, the number of people in a particular entryway, for example, to more complex off-the-shelf modules, which includes our SEMI module, which is our cleaning and compliance module. So in this module, we're combining sensor, feeds, and overlaying that with heat mapping technology. So what that means is, in a high traffic environment like a cafeteria or boardroom, for example, we're able to track the amount of touches, amount of people who are sitting there at the moment, and set things like contact and time thresholds. So instead of having a really standard, I'll clean at 9, I'll clean at 12, and I'll clean at 5 p.m., we're able to then set those thresholds, and when those thresholds are met, we'll be able to deploy cleaning or operating staff to clean and turn over that area. And so that's all about, and really I think good in this, time of the pandemic, where we're able to do that and ensure that we're keeping a safe workspace for everyone. Other things that are also available ready to go also include things like our audience measurement and content effectiveness modules, where it's all about measuring a target persona's interaction with digital content on screen. So things like age, gender, and sentiment are captured. And with content effectiveness, we're also able to understand if the target persona has watched an ad through. So by that, what I mean is we're able to do eyeball tracking to see if someone has actually watched a 15-second ad from start to finish, for example, and if they're looking at a particular spot on the presentation. So all of that provides really valuable feedback for, product marketing, retail marketing teams to be able to then cater their specific ad to the right target persona. The last thing that's also available off the shelf is our zone engagement module. And in zone engagement, we're able to basically track and stitch, anonymous personas as they go through the different zones in a particular environment. So we'll be able to see if someone has spent more time, say in the boardroom, in specific areas of, a retail lab, for example, and who's the top persona that's visiting these areas. So this is an example of some of our ready-to-go modules, and I'm going to show you the next slide, which, as you can see, we've converted some of those modules and applied them to a retail store. So our modules are essentially what we call horizontal modules that can just be taken, lifted, and applied in different verticals for the different use cases. So if you can see on screen here, anything that's in the white box are some of the ready-to-go modules that I've introduced in my previous slide and applied in a retail scenario. So you'll see really familiar modules, like I mentioned before, about audience measurement, where we're tracking, personas and how they're looking at digital content or digital signage content. You can also see similar modules like foot traffic counting, or rather entry monitoring, and you'll see our cleaning and compliance module on there as well. In this scenario, we've also put, this is our growth module, if you recall, we've also put an add your own module there. So in a lot of retail customers, what we've also found is, in this scenario, a lot of retailers usually have already dabbled in some form of AI before. And what they do in the AI space is they already have some models and algorithms. And so what we find is that's really a lot to do around product. So they usually have some form of AI algorithm around product. And so we can easily take that AI module, ingest that into our Viana platform, and then be able to overlay that with some of our other technology, which you can see on the screen here in that red box. It's all about making sure that we can overlay product with things like how many people are touching this particular Samsung phone, for example, who's the target persona that's interacting most with it, which is a combination of product algorithm together with our zone engagement module to be able to produce our shelf engagement module, as you can see up here. So these are all some really valuable statistics or analytics data that we can really take, extract, and surface into dashboards that can provide information back to the business on how customers are interacting with their products, what they should invest in, and who their target personas are as well. Last but not least, I've also taken our ready-to-go modules and added that to some of our personalized modules as well. So in this case, we've lifted some of our core modules, which are still in the little white box, and applied that in the healthcare space, for example. So you'll see really familiar modules like our entry monitoring module that's on there. You'll see our cleaning compliance module and audience measurement modules there, as well as our zone engagement modules, which are all our ready-to-go modules. In this scenario with healthcare, which is an example of a vertical that usually has really specific custom use cases that they want to achieve, you'll see on screen here the little black box with the exclamation mark. And that is some of our personalized modules that we are creating for some of our healthcare customers. So some of these include things like slip and fall. So making sure that, especially in an aged care facility per se, if a particular patient has fallen, being able to deploy, nurses and aid or care workers straight to the scene so that they can monitor and help the patient, to things like aggressive behavior alerts, where if something has a potential to escalate, say in the event of drug use or alcohol abuse, that we can deploy not only health staff but also security staff to the area to help de-escalate the situation. So these are examples of modules that are heavily based on environmental factors and perhaps target persona groups as well, and things that we can work with your business to be able to personalize and then deploy. And in this scenario, you can see that often it's really a mixture, a hybrid approach where we're overlaying some ready-to-go modules that are off the shelf together with custom use cases to be able to have AI make a really distinct impact in your organization and your business, and prove business cases really quickly. And last but not least, little shout out to Intel and some of the technology that we use to bring it all together. We operate on edge devices like the Intel Core processors, and we use that to be able to, process things on the edge even more quickly. And we also use OpenVINO to be able to optimize all our AI modules. And as you can see here, that's how we form, our AI platform, bringing the best of cloud and edge together. Also, I spoke a lot about verticals, and we just wanted to do a quick call out into some of our target verticals and some of the verticals that we've seen immense success and have multiple use cases in. You can see on screen here we've got retail, hospitality, industrial, healthcare, smart cities and workspaces, as well as government. And we've put a little bit of some of the key modules that we've found had the most traction in these verticals. So for retail and hospitality, for example, some things that our customers really like and have continuously used are our product and zone engagement modules, as well as things around theft detection and loss prevention, or things around loyalty as well has been really popular with our retail customers. And in our industrial customers, we see a lot of need in AI scenarios around warehousing and back of house efficiencies. And things like, I mentioned before in healthcare, which we spoke about, a lot about it is around, slip and fall detection and all about enhancing patient care. So yeah, thank you again for, your time today. If you'd like more information, please don't hesitate to visit our website, or you can scan our QR code on the screen to download our Intel white paper today. Thank you again.